The Cave and Basin is a Canadian National Historic Site and is the birthplace of Canada's national parks. It is free to enter with your Parks Pass, or it costs about $4 per adult. The park is open 9 to 5 daily, and there is a gift shop when you enter. Some of the things to do here are the exhibits in the Story Hall, viewing the cave and the bathhouse area, and there is also a marsh loop that's about 2.8 kilometers one way, or the Sundance Trail that is 3.9 kilometers one way. The cave was discovered in 1883 by 3 railway workers, and over 2 years they and others petitioned the government to develop the land, cave, and hot springs. The 3 men are shown here descending into the cave, and the first park superintendent, George Stewart, had his office in a tent in Banff in 1886. He served as superintendent for 12 years. These photos are of Banff Avenue in 1888. Soon, tourists started arriving in Banff to enjoy the hot springs at the Cave and Basin. Prime Minister John Macdonald set aside the land, and it became Canada's first national park. Let's walk through the tunnel to the cave. Here you see the cave that the men originally discovered and the hole in the earth that they descended down through. The Story Hall is full of exhibits showing the early days of the bathhouse. There are exhibits that show old bathing attire, pictures of bathers in the hot springs in the early 20s. There are bathing pool regulations and photos in the story of how the bathing house was built, and other exhibits all about early Canadian parks. And there's a complete movie that shows how the national parks came to be in Canada. This is a spot of the original pool. This entire area was a pool. It's all tiled in now. Lots of sulfur smell out here. But this is the original pool. And of course the room we were just in, where you saw the movie, was the bathhouse changing room. Now there's more hot springs over here to view. You can no longer get in them. Please don't touch the water. There's a little snail in there that's an endangered species. There's a picture, 1955, of people in the original pool area. There's also an outdoor exhibit that shows the Banff Avenue crossing the Bow River, and this is the view of the Parks Administration building in 1940. This is a view of the original bathhouse, and there it is today. We left there to go down the street to see the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. It's a historic hotel which opened in June 1888. The hotel was built of wood, but it burnt down in 1926 and was rebuilt of stone and reopened in 1928. We're going to go inside and take a quick look. As you enter the hotel, you're greeted with a massive lobby. Chandeliers, the check-in desk, hallways to rooms, and on the other end, more guest registration and sitting areas. And out we go. We walked around the outside to the Banff Springs shops on the first floor of the hotel. After we left the hotel, we drove back toward the campground and noticed a pull-off that said hoodoos. Just a short 100-yard walk down from the campground is a parking lot that says hoodoos.
hoodoos. Hoodoo what?
I don't know. It says hoodoos.
Well, let's go see what they got.
Let's look at the trail. Hoodoos are created over time where soft rock is washed away, leaving hard rock at the top that create these pillars. Let's zoom in and get a closer look at these amazing rock formations with the Bow River flowing beside them. After getting a close look at the hoodoos, we scanned the horizon and realized we could see the back of the Banff Springs Hotel. We could also see the top of the Banff Gondola and across to Sanson's Peak. We then left this overlook to go to Lake Minnewanka. It was only about 10 minutes down the road. On the way to Lake Minnewanka, there's a stop called Lower Bankhead, and there's another one called Upper Bankhead. It's the remains of a town named Bankhead that was a mining town a long time ago. It's met its demise in the early 1900s. There's an interpretive trail here with a lot of information about that. The Bankhead mine was opened in 1903 by the Canadian Pacific Railway to fuel its steam locomotives. At its peak in 1911, the mine produced 500,000 tons of coal. More than 900 people lived in Bankhead during this time, making it larger than the town of Banff. Due to changing times, the government closed the town in 1922, and now the only remnant is some leftover coal cars in the distance. Now let's continue on to Lake Minnewanka. We're at Lake Minnewanka. We're going to take a walk around the lake and see the views.
Let's see what they got.
The native lake was enlarged in 1912 when a dam was built across its outlet, and the dam was later enlarged in 1941 to create the size we see today. Also popular is scuba diving to explore the remains of the submerged Minnewanka Landing Resort. On Lake Minnewanka, you can take a cruise. At the end of the dock, you can see a cruise boat out there waiting for the next load. It's about an hour-long cruise, goes out on the lake. About $65, $70 a person with tax. You can also rent a pontoon boat or a cruiser or some smaller boats to go out on the lake. You can rent kayaks. There goes a group in a little small boat there. We're going to check out the prices here at the ticket booth. See what it says.
We also ask that you stay 10 meters off of any shoreline. And when you guys are leaving and coming back, there's some buoys that are just floating in the water there. Just stick to the right of those, like those folks there are doing.
Yeah.
Just because there's some rocks in the water, and can damage the boat.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're over 16, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys aren't required to wear your life jackets, but they do have to be.
can also get a fishing guide to take you out fishing. This is one of the large cruise boats. If you take a cruise, you get to hop on board. Looks like the skipper has a lot of controls. That's the inside. And the boats go way out over there. This is a long, long lake. There's a cruise boat out there, cruising along. Left the docks a few minutes ago. You're getting the boat ready for another cruise. Always.
Sweeping the deck, you know?
How long does it take for a cruise, or how long are cruises?
Yeah, so we have, every day at 11 we have the Explorer cruise, which is an hour and a half, but otherwise all the other tours are 1 hour.
What's the difference in the Explorer? Why is that longer?
Explorer is pretty awesome because we get to actually go and see the furthest end of the lake. And there's a really beautiful area there, which we don't have time to go to on the regular cruise. So that's what we have that extra 30 minutes for.
Oh, great. Okay.
And it's, yeah, it's a little more, we just get to do a bit more. There's like more stories and like, yeah, you get to see that beautiful area. And I think it's a bit more personal, that one, because you have like a bit more time to like chat. Whereas the other one, you kind of give the tour and then we're already coming back, like it's really fast. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the one we'll have to select. Thank you. There's that little boat that left the dock that I showed you earlier. Inside these shelters, which I don't know yet whether they're reservable or you just come in here and use them. They have these stoves to heat it up for a fire and a pile of wood there. We'll have to ask someone about that. Picnic shelter is a shared space for public enjoyment. Okay, so you can use it. Anyone can use it. Okay. Usually close to these shelters like this, there are some restroom facilities. Nice picnic area. There's several of them around the lake. Obviously, warnings everywhere not to feed the wildlife. All around the lake you can just walk, wander out into the woods, be with nature, and get some beautiful views of the lake and surrounding mountains. A little bit hazy today, but still beautiful. Lots of seats around the hedge. We have some kayakers out there on the water. See if you can see that. and a patrol boat.
We're at Lake Minnewanka, and Alan is going to try to skip a rock across the water. Wow, that's a good one.
As you look at some of the pictures of this beautiful lake, we're going to wrap up this tour of some of the sights around Banff. We hope you enjoyed the tour, and if you did, please like our video, share it, and subscribe for more RV adventures. See you later.